Okay, we're looking at track number 3. It's a nice slow minor blues in the key of B minor. So let's go through the chords and then we'll look at some rhythm ideas. Okay, we have 4 bars of B minor 7 and I'm going to play that like this. Okay, my second finger goes on this 7th fret low E string and mutes this A, and then that 3rd finger bars across that 7th fret, playing that 7D, 7G, 7B, 7 high E. We play that for 4 bars, then we move to an E minor 7, okay? Fairly standard shape, you probably know this for 2 bars. Okay, that's playing 7 on the low E, 7 on the A, 3rd finger plays 9 on the D, then that bar takes care of the 7 on the G, that 2nd finger plays 8 on the B, and then that bar also takes care of that 7 high E. Let's get the E minor 7 there. We play that for 2 bars, then we go back to the B minor for 2 bars. Then we move up to F sharp minor 7, same shape as the E minor, just up a tone for a bar. Down to E minor 7 for a bar. Down to B minor 7 for a bar. And then we stop, and then there's a bass tacit, normally a little drum fill, somewhere you can play a little bit of lead. And then we start the whole progression again. Okay, so in terms of rhythm, really 2 ways I think is best to go here. The first way is really just to play the chords and then arpeggiate a bit, which is just a posh word for picking out odd notes. So we're kind of like 1, 2, this kind of idea. And then when you move up to the E minor, same thing. Just hammering there, back. Then go up to the F sharp. Down to the E minor. Back to the B minor. And stop. Now, a couple of little things you can do here. You can, on the B minor, for example, you could do these little slides like that. I do that one, which is from 7D and 7G, up a tone and back. This is a nice one as well, which is going from 7 on the G to 9 on the G, and then the same on the high E. So, you can notice, kind of using that same idea as we did on the first track, if you remember, just doing those little stabs. When we move to the E, we can do the same idea, but we can do a nice little slide here on the E minor. Mix it all up as we always do, and that's going from, we're just basically holding down a dyad, which is another posh word for 2 notes at once. 7 on the G, 8 on the B, slide it up and back down. And then when we move to the F sharp, same idea, but just up a tone. Okay, now, I'm going to demonstrate that in a minute, but just as another little thing as well, if you want to get a little bit more kind of rhythmic, this is a very sort of sparse way of playing over a track like this, but there's a way you can do a kind of 2-part idea, and that's to find maybe 2 or 3 notes that fit over the whole progression, and it would in this case be B, which would be 9th fret on the D string, and this A note, which is 7th fret on the D string, and then I'm sort of picking a nice little palm muted type phrase and playing it throughout the thing, and having 2 things like that going really can work for a track like this. And you noticed I was just kind of pulling off of that. On that minor 3rd there, which is the 7th fret on the G string. So let's play around the progression and see if I can incorporate all this stuff in it, and hopefully it's going to make some sense. Okay, what you saw me do there was first time round I used all the kind of chordy ideas that we discussed. And second time round I went a bit more funky on ya. And all I did when it went to the F sharp, I just played off the F sharp note and the same with the E. Then back to the... Okay, so that concludes some rhythm ideas. Let's move on and look at some soloing ideas. Okay, so let's think about what we can play here. First of all, we're going to be thinking minor pentatonic, and we can play B minor pentatonic from the first chord over everything. And the pentatonic, as usual, the normal thing. Now, what we can do is we can use the pentatonic from the root of each chord. So we can use B minor pentatonic for the B minor chord. And also I'm slipping in the odd blues scale here and there. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's just adding that, what we call the flat 5 there. Now when the E minor chord comes around, okay, we could, we could shoot up and play the kind of E minor up there, but for now we want to be able to stay in position to make a nice smooth transaction. So basically to play the pentatonic relative to the E minor chord, we're going to play position 4. Now don't worry if this is too advanced for you, because you can play B minor over the whole thing, and basically all I'm doing is just showing you some other options. Okay, then when the F sharp minor chord comes around, we play F sharp minor pentatonic position 3. But as I say, don't worry if it's too technical, you can just stick on B minor. And I can't explain every single scale, everything we do, because we've got a lot to get through. So if you don't know those pentatonic positions, you might want to do a bit of brushing up on the 5 minor and 5 major. So, okay, I'm going to try and put a lot of information into what we're going to do here, but one of the things I want to get across is with this type of track, it's got to be emotional playing. Now, that's not something that's very, very easy to describe, okay, because it's not like a technical thing, but, you know, and I don't know how much you want me to share with you about how I approach this type of thing, but years ago when I was, we've all had, problems in our lives, and years ago when I would, have lots of problems, I'd put on blues tracks and I would really just try and convey what I was feeling on the guitar. So if I'm feeling inside, I really would try and get that out as much as I could, I'd spend a long, long time doing it as well, because there are some things, in music that are just kind of like magic, and they're not really, related. I mean, you have to have technique to be able to, pull them off, as it were. But the spirit of it, as I like to call it, comes from inside. So if you can imagine something in your life you're unhappy with, or something that you feel you need to express, if you can try and turn that feeling into a musical sound. So if it's an aggressive feeling, you might... a big vibrato might express a very aggressive feeling. If you feel like that, and something a little bit more, a subtle playing might, describe something a little bit less, aggressive than I was doing just now. Lots of notes might, progress something, might convey something, and less notes may convey something else. But as long as you're trying to convey a feeling, then I think you're a step closer to your playing being more emotional and more expressive. So let's try and marry up technique and expression in one little demonstration, and I'm going to try and make that happen right now. Okay, so lots of emotive playing there. I mean, I'm welling up here. I don't know about you guys. But, you know, trying to express those feelings, as weird as that sounds. I mean, you don't have to go and put a dress on or anything. Unless, of course, you're a woman, then, you know, you can do that. But anyway, just, you know, try and get in touch with that stuff and try and turn it into something musical. And then getting back to the technical stuff, don't forget your pentatonics. Obviously, targeting you can do as we did before. And all the same stuff kind of, you know, relates everything that we've done so far. But those type of things, just try and really express yourself as much as you can. And I think that's one way that you'll really draw people to your music.